is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 16, verse 2. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children, and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim B'chakodash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well. And peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Aharan coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and just wanted to go into this real quick. Something that I came across a couple of days ago, but finally got the chance to go into it a little bit more, read a little bit more about it, and see exactly what's going on. All right, but this was a ruling, all right, by the Supreme Court. Okay, and it basically gives full immunity, okay, to Border Patrol agents and whoever agents, all right, that they might send, okay, to be able to basically break the Fourth Amendment right, which is basically them needing a warrant, all right, in order to come into your house or perform a search and so on and so forth, right? And basically this ruling, all right, gives them full immunity, okay, that they can pretty much, upon command, come into your house and you can't sue, you cannot press charges, okay, no matter what the outcome might be upon that encounter. All right, so this is leading perfectly, all right, into what we've been talking about in 2nd Esdras, all right, regarding the time of martial law. Okay, there are certain things that's happening around the world that we can see, all right, through the spirit, what these so-called elites are trying to do. Okay, number one, they're trying to push away the ability, all right, for people to have that freedom of speech. Okay, that's why they're using the internet, okay, to shut down anyone who might be in opposition to whatever the narrative that they're trying to push might be. Okay, so they call it what? Disinformation, misinformation. All right, they call it hate speech. All right, they call it conspiracy theories. Okay, and so on and so forth. All right, but all the facts come out, and it's exactly what the so-called conspiracies have been saying. The so-called conspiracy theorists, okay, have been talking about, which are the truth speakers. Okay, and once again, all right, the biblical prophecies of the end times are speaking, and the times that we're coming in are evil. Okay, today I saw, was it 5 military trucks? Okay, and I'm gonna post that video, all right after this. Okay, but there's 5 military trucks, man. Okay, that I seen on my way just driving on the road, and I said, what are these people doing here? You know? All right, but we're gonna go into this real quick. Okay, because we're entering into the time of that great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Okay, they're about to have people in derision. Okay, and they're gonna be like madmen sparing none, as the scriptures have said. Okay, and we're gonna get that. All right, so I'm gonna read this real quick just to give you a little insight. All right, before we go into, all right, the Supreme Court ruling. Okay, and this is very big, but you see, nobody's really talking about it. All right. It says the Constitution is in the 100-mile border zone. The problem, it says the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution protects Americans from random and arbitrary stops and searches. According to the government, however, these basic constitutional principles do not apply fully at our borders. For example, at border crossings and it says also called ports of entry. Okay, that's very important. Ports of entry. So that means what? Your airports will be considered part of border crossings because it's a port of entry. Okay, as also a port of exit as well. That's why it's called airport. Okay, it says federal authorities do not need a warrant or even suspicion of wrongdoing to justify conducting what courts have called a routine search, such as searching luggage or a vehicle. 3, it says even in places far removed from the border, deep into the interior of the country, immigration officials enjoy broad, though not limitless, powers. Specifically, federal regulations give U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, or Border Protection, which is known as a CBP, all right, Customs and Border Protection, authority to operate within 100 miles of any U.S. external boundary. Okay, And that external boundary is in quotations because really it's if you really go into it, it's actually them having authority to operate within 100 miles of any US port of entry. Okay, they just call it external boundary. No, the port of entry. Okay, it says in this 100-mile zone, Border Patrol agents have certain additional authorities. For instance, Border Patrol can operate immigration checkpoints. Border Patrol nevertheless cannot pull anyone over without reasonable suspicion of any immigration violation or crime, which are what reasonable suspicion is much more than just a hunch. Similarly, Border Patrol cannot search vehicles in the 100-mile zone without a warrant or probable cause. In practice, Border Patrol agents routinely ignore or misunderstand the limits of their legal authority in the course of individual stops. That's why a lot of Jakes get pulled over, all right, for no reason. And then the end of it is what? Death. Okay? You get a ticket, all kinds of different harassment. You know? So let's keep going. It says, stops, right? Individual stops resulting in violations of the constitutional rights of innocent people. And they do that on purpose. Okay? It's to create this fear of so-called police among the land, because you're gonna get pulled over, and every time you see a cop around, you just get all nervous and all tense. They do that on purpose. You shouldn't feel that way around people who are sworn in to so-called serve and protect you. You shouldn't always feel like this feeling of uneasiness, especially if you're not a so-called white person. Okay? It says these problems are compounded by inadequate training for Border Patrol agents, a lack of oversight by CBP, all right, which is Customs and Border Protection, and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and the consistent failure of CBP to hold agents accountable for abuse. All right, like I said, that's done on purpose. Okay, it says no matter what CBP officers and Border Patrol agents think, our Constitution applies throughout the United States, including within this 100-mile border zone. Okay, so keep that in mind, that it's this Constitution that is holding these people back, or this so-called Constitution. Okay, because now we're seeing through executive orders, they're eliminating, all right, the power of the so-called Constitution. Okay, and they're taking people's rights and freedoms away, and they don't even know it. Okay, but let's read. It says, much of the U.S. population affected. All right, so when you think of Border Patrol, a lot of people think, that's around the southern border. Okay, but really, it's pretty much around the whole entire states. Okay, because America has borders. It has a border between itself and Canada. Okay, it has a border between itself and the Pacific Ocean on the west. It has a border all the way going south, from southwest all the way down south, all the way southeast, bordering what? Mexico. Okay, and then down on the down all through Mississippi, down through Atlanta. Okay, all the way down through to Florida. Okay, and then you have that all the way going up from Florida, going north, all the way northeast, and it borders what? The Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so America is a whole land that has borders. Okay, and they're saying that around those borders, within 100-mile radius, these people have power. But then they also say that it's actually any port of entry, meaning airports. Okay, so you might say, I'm in the middle of the state, so then that's definitely not 100 miles in. Oh, no. Because if you're 100 miles away from any airport around you, you fall into that category. Okay, so let's read. It says much of the U.S. population affected. It says many people think that border-related policies only impact people living in border towns like El Paso or San Diego. Right, that's true. Like I just mentioned, the reality is that Border Patrol's interior enforcement operations encroach deep into and across the United States, affecting the majority of Americans. Check this out. Roughly 2/3 of the United States population lives within the 100-mile radius or 100-mile zone, that is, within 100 miles of a U.S. land or coastal border. That's about 200 million people. All right, so 2/3 of the American population will fall underneath this constitutional rule. Okay, the Supreme Court ruling. All right, over 200 million people. So get ready. All right, we've been talking about the troubles that are coming. Get ready. Why do you think they're pushing so hard for gun control? Okay. It says Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Hawaii, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, and Vermont lie entirely or almost entirely within this area. So these states that I just mentioned, if you're in any of these states, get ready. Okay. It says 9 of the 10 largest U.S. metropolitan areas, as determined by the 2010 census, also fall within this zone. New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Philadelphia, Phoenix, San Antonio, San Diego, and San Jose. All right, and these are the states that you're going to start seeing a lot of chaos. Okay, because they have to bring that order, so they will manufacture the chaos. Remember, it's order ab chaos. Okay, order out of chaos, problem, reaction, solution. So these states and these cities, all right, Houston is going to be on fire. Chicago, forget about that. New York City, Los Angeles, okay, Houston, Philadelphia, okay, and so on and so forth. Out east, you have San Diego, San Antonio, you know, San Antonio, Texas, San Jose, okay. So anyone who's living in these areas, these states and these cities, hey, prepare, all right, because this Supreme Court ruling affects you, and that basically it does away with your Fourth Amendment right. They can come into your house and they can forcefully take you out and do all sorts of madness to you, and you can't sue them. You can't bring them to justice. No. All right. It says the regulations establishing the 100-mile border zone were adopted by the U.S. Department of Justice in 1953 without any public comments or debate. I wonder why. Okay, the DOJ. I wonder why. Okay, and that just like how Klaus Schwab and his minions. Okay, they're also having meetings without any public comments or debate. Okay, it's all private, and then they bring it out and tell you how their private meetings have to affect you and your public life, including your private life. See? Yeah. So it says at the time there were fewer than 1,100 Border Patrol agents nationwide. This was back in 1953. Today there are over 21,000. The Border Patrol often ignores this regulation, and aside from limiting interior checkpoint locations to within the 100-mile zone, rejects any geographic limitations on agents' authority. You hear that? At least 2 federal circuit courts condone Border Patrol operations outside the 100-mile zone, federal regulations and Supreme Court precedent notwithstanding. So regardless of the federal regulations or the Supreme Court rulings, these niggas say, nah, we're doing it how we want to do it. Okay? It says federal border. Now, this is them acting this way when you have a lot of people who are armed. So what happens when they take the guns out of people's hands? It's going to be a brutal scene, like how they show you in Gray State. Okay, as a matter of fact, I might in the post edits, I might just put that video, all right, to play in the back. Okay, but it shows you, man, they come into your houses in the middle of the night. You know, if you've heard what this man David Goldberg was talking about. All right, that they're going to come in the middle of the night. All right, they will come in the middle of the night, man. And that's when they're going to take people out of their houses. All right, let's get that in the book of Job real quick. Let me see if I can find it real fast. All right, this is what they're about to do. Okay, and it's all biblical scripture. It's all written in the scriptures. People don't even know. You know, people don't know. Let's see, the book of Job. All right, this is why we're giving the warning, man. The Lord set us up here, all right, to give warning, but hey, they're not even listening. All right, this is a book of Job, chapter 36, verse 20 says, "Desire not the night when people are cut off in their place." Okay, where people are cut off in their place. So at night, all right, then they're gonna come in, they're gonna make their roll. Okay, they're gonna roll in the middle of the night, because who's gonna be outside at night? You're at home, you're chilling, you're comfortable. That's when they're gonna come get you. Coming as a thief in the night. Okay, and they will spare none. They will spare none. All right, so it says federal border agents are stopping, interrogating, and searching Americans on an everyday basis with absolutely no suspicion of wrongdoing, and often in ways that our Constitution does not permit. For example, Border Patrol, according to news reports, operates approximately 170 interior checkpoints throughout the country. Okay, and it says the actual number is in operation at any given time is not publicly known. They're not going to tell you. It says the ACLU believes that these checkpoints amount to dragnet, suspicionless stops that cannot be reconciled with Fourth Amendment protections. The Supreme Court has upheld the case of immigration checkpoints, but only insofar as the stops consist only of a brief and limited inquiry into residence status. Checkpoints cannot be primarily used for drug search or general law enforcement efforts. In practice, however, Border Patrol agents often do not limit themselves to brief immigration inquiries and regularly conduct criminal investigations and illegal searches at checkpoints. The Border Patrol also frequently pulls over motorists in roving patrol stops, often without any suspicion that an immigration violation has occurred. Okay, so soon they're going to be raiding people's houses and there's nothing you can do. Okay? Hey. It says, let's see here. Okay, so that's pretty much, oh, actually, hold on. Okay, right here. Wow. It says these practices also coincide with the spread of numerous border technologies, including watch list and database systems, such as the Automated Targeting System Traveler Risk Assessment Program, advanced identification and tracking systems, including electronic passports. Okay, you know, them QR codes and all that. Yep. It says and intrusive technological schemes, such as the virtual border fence and unmanned aerial vehicles, aka drone aircraft. With many of these technologies in the hands of private companies, oh shit, here we go. There are powerful financial incentives for the continued militarization of the border zone. You hear that? The expansion of government power both at and near the border is part of a trend toward expanding police and national security powers without regard to the effect of such expansion on our most fundamental and treasured constitutional rights. The federal government's dragnet approach to law enforcement and national security is one that is increasingly turning us all into suspects. Okay, and yeah, they have it. The DHS has it. FEMA also has it. The red and blue list. Okay, the red list, yellow list, blue list. And over 90% of the American population, all right, is on some type of list that's going to end up in them being murdered. Whether they know it or not. All right, they're thinking out here sitting there talking about Biden and Putin inflation. They are setting you up to leave you hopeless, helpless, and defenseless. And they're going to come in and plunge. All right, they're going to plunge. It says, if Americans do not continue to challenge the expansion of federal power over the individual, we risk forfeiting the fundamental rights and freedoms that we inherited, including the right to simply go about our business free from government interference, harassment, and abuse. Well. Let's fast forward to June 9th, 2022. All right, the year where Yahweh Shem Yahushai turns up, and here we go. It says, endangers us all is a quote. Supreme Court ruling shields border agents from excessive force lawsuit. Right? Check it. The ruling leaves thousands of Border Patrol agents, quote, absolutely immunized from liability, end quote, said Justice Sonia Sotomayor, no matter how egregious the misconduct or resultant injury. June 9th, 2022, a ruling by the right-wing majority on the U.S. Supreme Court Wednesday will have far-reaching consequences for people who accuse federal agents of violating their constitutional rights. The ACLU warned after the court ruled against a man who wanted to sue a U.S. Border Patrol agent who entered his property without a warrant and used excessive force. Okay? So when we read scriptures like 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 70, all right, verse 71, where it talks about them being like madmen, sparing none, and still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord, okay? This is the setup of that. They're setting it up. Okay, they're making these things into law. Okay, where it's going to be legal for them to commit murder, for them to grab you up and take you into a concentration camp without your consent. Okay, remember, this is what they're about to do. Revelation 12:12 tells us that what the devil is coming down upon the earth, all right, having great wrath because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So they're going to legalize, all right, whatever it is that they're about to do, and soon, again, it has to open the door for them to start beheading people. Okay, so the raid is about to begin. All right, the invasion is about to begin, and the Americans are now the enemy. Okay, it says the court ruled 6-3 in Egbert versus Boulay that Congress must, I believe his name is Bull, but Boulay sounds better, that Congress must decide whether the plaintiff can sue the government over the alleged violation of his rights. A decision which Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote in her dissenting opinion threatens to block nearly all civil suits against federal agents. Okay, quote, the court's decision today ignores our repeated recognition of the importance of Bivens' actions, particularly in the Fourth Amendment search and seizure context, and closes the door to Bivens' suits by many who will suffer serious constitutional violations at the hands of federal agents, end quote, Sotomayor wrote, referring to Bivens v. 6 unknown named agents of Federal Bureau of Narcotics, the 1971 ruling in which the court found federal agents can be sued in some cases even if Congress has not explicitly authorized the challenge. Okay, so the key is what? The many who will suffer serious constitutional violations at the hands of federal agents by this ruling alone. Okay, and we said what? 2/3, every 2 out of 3 Americans that you meet, all right, are going to be under this. They're going to be affected by this ruling, regardless. Okay. It says Wednesday's ruling pertained to a case stemming from Washington State innkeeper Robert Bull's attempt to sue Border Patrol border agent Eric Egbert. In 2014, Egbert entered Bull's property without a warrant. This was back in 2014. Okay, without a warrant to investigate a guest from Turkey. Bull accused the agent of pushing him to the ground and later retaliating when Bull reported the incident to Egbert's supervisors. Journalist Mark Joseph Stern of Stale said the court's conservative majority knows legislation that would allow an individual to sue federal agents for constitutional rights violation is unlikely and is thus effectively, quote, slamming the door on accountability for federal law enforcement, end quote. You hear that? So you notice how they're saying federal law enforcement. That means the troops are involved in that. FEMA is involved in that. Okay? They've opened the door. Now it's not even just Border Patrol. They said federal law enforcement. Okay? And I did a video a couple weeks ago going into law enforcement and what they're about to do. Okay? We're in those times, man. All right? Everything, we are in those times. Okay? All the things that the Lord said, these are the beginning of sorrows, and we're about to enter into some painful times, man. Yo. It says the court did not overrule Bivens, but further restricted people's ability to seek redress when they accuse federal agents of violating their rights. In 2020, the court ruled that the family of a Mexican teenager fatally shot by the Border Patrol agent could not sue over the child's killing. And in 2017, this is crazy. It says in 2017, it ruled that government officials are not liable for the alleged mistreatment of non-citizens who are detained by the United States. So you got all these people that are moving, being brought over through the border. A lot of them are Jake. Well, a lot of them are different people that are mixed in there, who are about to pick up a lot of this tension that's going to be on this American soil. Okay, remember Rex 84, all right, was a readiness exercise 84 that was built, all right, with a mindset or with a notion that if there was a mass exodus, okay, coming across the border, And we're in those times where you've seen a lot of, and the mass exodus is not even organic. They're the ones who are behind it. Okay, a lot of people who are seeing a lot of migrants, so-called migrants, coming from Ukraine and all these different, how they get here? You know, who's giving them the authority and the aid, all right, to come over here and chill? You know, it's the American government, and they're doing it by on purpose, for a reason. It's all done by design. Okay. It says Justice Neil, and that's what they're gonna use in order to invade people's privacy even more. Get ready to start hearing them telling you that you should start opening up your doors for some of these migrants. You know, some weird shit that they're about to do, man. It says Justice Neil Gorsuch suggested in his opinion that while Bivens, right, has not been overruled, future claims against federal agents may not be viable. Okay? Thousands of Border Patrol agents have now been absolutely immunized from liability, said Sotomayor, no matter how egregious the misconduct or resultant injury. Damn. Woo! It's over with. Okay, it says lawyers from Egbert had argued that allowing Bull's claim to proceed would undermine the ability of Border Patrol agents to conduct searches as part of immigration enforcement, while Sotomayor noted that the case does not remotely implicate national security. There we go with that national security shit. Okay? It says the ACLU warned that the ruling will leave the country's largest federal agency, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, even less accountable to the public. And it says here, it ends with this, quote, "This precedent endangers us all," the group said. Okay, so now we're about to start seeing some things, some very, very heated things. Okay, everything that they're doing is done by design. This is what the Lord said will be happening. Okay, this is what they have to do in order to get to that point of getting their so-called New World Order. They have to shed a lot of blood. Okay, a lot of people are not going to be willing to comply. A lot of people are going to be acting out of control and crazy, and they're going to have to shut it all down. Okay. There's a book of Revelation chapter 12 verse 12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath." Okay, great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Okay, and that great wrath, part of that great wrath is this. This is a book of 2nd Ezra chapter 16 verse 68. It says, "For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols." And that's talking about them semiconductors. All right, just to use that code for now, semiconductors. We're going to get into that in another lesson. Okay, with the whole EU semiconductor act. Okay, and that's already in the US. All right, Biden has already signed off on that. All right, and they already have that in motion. I believe 6 months ago they started working on that. So where everything is lining up perfectly, all right, for all hell to break loose, and that's done by design. Once the MOTB is ready to be implanted and to be made mandatory, they're going to set out these troops out there to start pushing that energy so they can break this system down even faster, so they can bring that solution even faster, because they don't have that much time. Okay, verse 69, it says, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. So those who are going to agree and think, oh yeah, you know, the government said to do this, we have to go over here, we have to everyone in this area is affected by blah blah blah, so let's go over here to these camps. And so you're going to be messed up. Okay, you're going to be messed up, man. All right, it says, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Okay, and that's going to be for the elect. All right, but ultimately anyone who claims some type of biblical ties or understanding of any Bible, you're going to be demonized, man. Okay, that's part of that great insurrection. They're going to make laws to make our faith illegal. Okay, that means that they'll try to, if they're trying to come after guns, they're definitely coming after the Bible, because that's the book that promotes faith. Okay, because they know that faith keeps the person who keeps faith. Okay, they know that. Verse 71. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Okay? So you Israelites, all right, are the main goal for these people, man. Okay? And that's because the judgment of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is going to rest, all right, upon the house of Jacob, and the elect will be delivered. Okay? It's going to be upon the face of the whole entire earth, but predominantly you Jakes. All right? Because you have sinned against the Heavenly Father, and this is your reward. Okay? Famines, plagues, pestilences, all right, ultimately the sword. Okay? Because 2/3 of our people are going to be cut off. All right, and the article said what? 2/3 of Americans are going to face, all right, this judgment. Okay? It says, for they shall waste and take away their goods. Okay? So storing things, you got people that's stacking up and doing all this, and there's nothing wrong with getting some food and water and stuff like that here and there for the initial phase of the rush and the chaos that's going to ensue. Okay? You could hold off on that, and hey, guess what? The little that you have, the Lord is going to perform miracles that the little that you may have might last you all throughout till we get out of here. He said we're going to eat. Okay? He said we're going to drink. We're going to be joyful of heart. Okay? So if Elijah could do it with that widow, if Yahushua could do it with his disciples, feeding the multitude, okay, the Lord is going to do the same thing for his elect. All right? It's not a big thing for the Lord to increase whatever little that you may have to last you forever. All right? It's an easy thing. Okay? So let's keep going. It says, for they shall waste and take away their goods. All right? That's written in the female executive orders of them coming into your houses and taking your food, your guns, and everything out of your house. Okay? And cast them out of their houses. You're going to be arrested, grabbed up, they're going to chain you up, they're going to cuff you up, line you people outside and just blow your heads away. But then with that time, when the enemy comes in like a flood, then that's when the Lord is going to lift up that standard against them. Okay? And through that standard, this is what's going to happen. Verse 73, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. So the adversity is going to come. And when that pushback against that adversity happens, that's when people are going to know who the real men of the Lord are, including Esau, Edom. Okay? There you go. So Lord, when you've been edified, I want to leave it off there. I want to start out to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Ruach HaKodesh, the water Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai. And until next time, Shabbat Shalom.